So today I will be sharing how you can become a vendor at a local Pokemon show or a trade show near you, and all my recommendations on how you can become a successful vendor. So recently I became a vendor, so I wanted to share how you could become one and all my recommendations on how on what to do and what not to do if you want to become a successful vendor. The number one thing is you have to have products that you're selling. So most people have lots of large Pokemon card collections, but you have to understand that you will be selling these cards, so you cannot have any regrets once you sell your cards. I've heard many stories of people selling their cards and then that same card goes up in price a couple months later and they regret the sale and they think about it a lot. But you can't do that. Once you sell a card, you have to forget about it. It sucks, but that happens to us all, and once you get into selling your cards, you have to understand that the price you sell it at is the price it went for. You can't think about hypotheticals, or else you'll be holding on to your cards forever. You will be selling part of your collection. You don't have to sell your whole collection. Even myself, I have a personal collection that I keep on the side, and I know that if a card sells, I can't have any regrets afterwards. But that doesn't mean you just have to sell Pokemon cards. You could sell different items. Lots of people sell sealed Pokemon boxes. You could also sell accessories. Lots of people are looking to buy sleeves, binders, top loaders, or even slab bumpers. I always see people selling different accessories for Pokemon cards. And also you could sell artwork, 3D prints, buttons, anything that you make yourself that's pretty cool and you want to sell. There's a market for anything, and if you enjoy doing it, chances are someone will pay you for that item as well. So just bring it to the show and you might sell it. So that's number one, having products you want to sell. Number two, I would highly recommend to go to a trade show before you sign up to become a vendor. Look online. There are trade shows or Pokemon shows or collectible shows that happen in most major cities. It might be a little far from you if you don't live in a major city, but on like a local collectible group or Pokemon group on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or something within your area, they always advertise different events happening around, and Pokemon cards are one of the biggest collectible items right now, so there are a lot of shows that are happening. So I would recommend to go attend one before you sign up to become a vendor, just to see how the market is and whether you like it or not. It's always recommended to just shop around, talk to different vendors. They will give you their recommendations on how you could sign up, what they recommend you to do, and what products sell well. And also see their setup. You'll learn a lot from that. That's what I did. I went to multiple shows before I became a vendor. And I did some research. I guess it's called field research in that case. So I was shopping around, looking at what works, what doesn't, and taking notes, mental notes. I wasn't actually writing anything, but just mental notes on what was working for them, so I could implement the same stuff and I don't look like a newbie when I go there. The next step is to sign up to become a vendor. So most of these shows have ways you could contact the organizer to sign up and become a vendor. There's almost always a cost to become a vendor. Usually the rate's about $100 a table, give or take. So contact the organizer, and then they will give you all the details and how you could pay them for the table. They'll give you the confirmation on when you could come to set up. So once you have signed up, the next step is to organize all your product. If it's Pokemon cards, I recommend to put them in binders. It is a lot easier for people to flip through binders than if it's in boxes. They will be a lot neater. Put them in sleeves, put them in binders. They will be organized, protected, and the buyers will be happier as your products will be in better condition and easier to access. Now, if you've been to a show, you'll notice that a lot of people use display cases. You could also get a display case. These are called like bulletin board display cases or cabinets that people use to display like signs in a school or anything, but they work great for Pokemon cards because you can lay them flat on a table and display all your cards on them. That's also an option. They are a little bit more expensive than a standard binder, and you can't store as many cards, but if you have lots of valuable cards, that is the recommended option, just because you could lock it. It's easy to display, and it prevents people from stealing your cards, because it is very easy to steal a card. So you have to be attentive, and a display case is a great way to prevent. So that's how you organize your cards, whether it's in a box, a binder, or a display case. All perfectly fine options, but the binder is my recommendation. Unless it's an expensive card, put it in a display case. So once you do that, you'll want to be able to store all your cards for transportation from your house or wherever your cards are stored into the trade show. Use a box, use a bin or something to store all your cards. And binders work great because you could stack the binder, put it in a box, or even just bring all your binders like that, put them in your cart, take them to the show, and depending on how much product or inventory you have, including like any collectibles or artwork you have, you want to be able to take them from your cart inside the show. So here I'll recommend you to get like a wagon or a trolley to put all your stuff inside and take them all in one shot into the show. If you don't have a partner helping you, it is always recommended to take your stuff in one go, just because you never know. By the time you drop off your items and then go for a second round, someone could steal an item from what you brought inside already. So you'll always want to either bring a partner or take everything in one go so you can prevent any thefts. One other recommendation I will give you is to use price labels. So this does take a lot of time, but my recommendation is to use like a sticky label like this, or even like a circular label. The smaller ones are better for cards just because you take up less space. You could just write down the amount. And for pricing, I personally use the Collector app, but you could also use like price charting website. That goes off of the eBay last sold price, and it usually just gives an average of that. You could also go directly to eBay, search your item, and then go on last sold. This usually works for slabs and stuff, but if you have lots of cards, just go into some kind of app like Collector, search your cards up. They'll give you a base price, and you could price your cards accordingly. And the more recently you do it, the better. If your prices are outdated, you might be losing out on some money, or your prices might be too high, and buyers won't buy your cards. So this does take a lot of time to actually price out each individual card. If your prices are outdated, you'll have to update all the prices, but it is worth it. I have done both. I didn't price my cards out for my first show, and it took me a long time to individually price them out on spot, but the next shows I priced out my cards, and it saved me a lot of time at the show, and it was a lot easier to sell the cards to the buyers because they would pick out like 4, 5, or 10 cards, and then I'd easily be able to count up the price and give them a price on spot, versus manually looking up each card, which takes up a lot of time. So the more time you put into your setup, the easier it will be. Now you get to a show and it's setup time. If you've been to shows before, you'll notice that a lot of people use tablecloths. It is highly recommended to use a tablecloth. You don't have to use it. I've seen people not use it, and it works. The tables at most of these venues are old. They're either scratched up or beat up, and it doesn't look really nice. So you'll want like a fresh tablecloth on it, whether it's like a colored tablecloth or just a black or white tablecloth, just to have like a uniform surface so you could display your cards and also protect your binders. I mean, these are plastic tables or wooden tables with like blisters or scratches that could damage your items, so a tablecloth is recommended. So put your tablecloth on the table, organize your items, whether it's binders, boxes, collectibles, figures, that display case, whatever you have, organize them neatly, and the more organized it is, the better it is for buyers, and the more attractive it is for people coming to look at your products, and they are more likely to buy from an organized seller versus an unorganized seller. And it's easier to find products if everything is neatly organized, especially in binders or in display case. The more organized your setup looks like, the more likely someone will buy from you because they know you are an organized person, if you understand what I'm saying. So with organization, there is also the element of advertising or marketing your brand. So if you're going to be vending only once, this is not a big deal, but if you want to vend at consecutive shows, you'll want to create a brand or a logo or like a name for yourself, whether it's just your own name or something that you could advertise on your table. It doesn't have to be like a big banner that I got. It could just be a small little sign, but something that people could connect with you later on and also recognize you if they see you at different shows. I've been to multiple shows, and the vendors that I recognize the most always have like a nice logo design, a nice designed logo, or like a memorable name that I'll be like, oh, I've seen that person before, and let me go to that table because I remember them from last show and they had great products. If you are going to be vending at multiple shows, have a social media presence. It doesn't have to be creating content. You could just be doing like small little updates or having something where people could connect with you afterwards. So my next recommendation is to have extra cash available, whether it's for a transaction, giving change back to someone, or when a buyer comes and wants to sell their cards to you. This is a great opportunity because I've seen vendors buy cards from people that are selling them, just walking around and looking to sell cards. Here you could buy at the vendor rate, which is usually like 80% or even 70% depending on the cards. Usually the vendor, when they're buying from you, they're going to take a small cut just because they're buying a lot of product from you and they have the vendor expenses. Now that doesn't mean you have to do this. You could buy other people's cards at market price, but people do understand that you will be taking a small cut just because you're buying so much and you have the expense of being a vendor. So here you'll want cash on hand in case you want to buy a collection off someone, or in case you have to give change back to someone. Like hypothetically, someone pays with a large bill and they're only buying a small product. You'll want to be able to give back the change to them, or else they won't buy from you. And aside from cash, you'll want some other kind of payment methods. So having something like an e-transfer or an electronic transfer email or phone number is always recommended, because not everyone has cash or they've run out of cash. So they might want to just transfer you the money electronically, which is perfectly acceptable. So have that kind of payment method available. It will help you out. Another recommendation I have is to bring a partner with you. This could be like a sibling, a friend, a girlfriend, a spouse, whatever it is. I mean, I've seen people come with their spouses there, and it's very common. People come with their families. I've seen adults come with their kids, or kids come with their parents. I mean, like teenagers, usually it's not like small kids vending, but like teenagers coming with their parents. And having a partner is very much recommended. With a partner, you have someone to help you out. You have someone that has an eye on your products when you're busy with a buyer, and you have someone else to help you when there's multiple buyers at the table. Honestly, there has been situations where I'm busy with the buyer and I'm not focusing on the rest of my table, and there are chances that someone else could come and take a product from me. So that's why I bring my brother with me. He has an eye on the table, and he could keep an eye out, which will also prevent people from stealing. Another recommendation to prevent people from stealing is have a camera. If you have like an extra phone on you or some kind of older camera, bring like a stand, point it down at your table, and this will prevent people from stealing. And in case they do steal, you'll also have proof that they stole from you, which you could use later on. Another recommendation I have is to bring a notebook and a pen, or some way to document all your transactions or sales throughout the day. I made the mistake of not doing this at my first show, so I wasn't able to account for everything I sold, and if I actually made money on this show. I probably lost money on my first show because I made so many mistakes. I highly recommend to bring like a notebook or some way to document your transactions. You could also do it on your phone if you're a fast typer, but I found that like writing it down quickly, even if it's a scribble with the amount, that's always recommended. I've seen different vendors do different things, but for me, the notebook and pen work great because everything is together, and I could use that same notebook at multiple shows and then look back at it to see if I'm actually making money or I'm just losing money every show. Next recommendation is to bring water, snacks, maybe even a lunch if it's a long show, and good footwear. You're going to be standing for the majority of it. There are chairs that you could use, but you don't want to be sitting down when someone comes to you to buy from you. You want to be engaged with them. You want to be interacting with them, and it's highly recommended that you're standing. I mean, sitting is perfectly fine. It's just standing for the whole day when you're not used to it is exhausting. Lastly, my recommendation is to network with people. If you want to be vending seriously, or you want to continue vending, it's always recommended to build a network with the other local vendors in your area and also the buyers. Most vendors are Pokemon fans and or Pokemon collectors, and honestly, if they're a Pokemon collector and you're a Pokemon collector, right there and then you share a common interest, and you could talk about Pokemon, then you could talk about business, and you could talk about how you could both improve and give each other recommendations on how to improve your vending game. I started doing this as well, and I love it. It's great to make friends, it's great to network with people, and the community is great. Most vendors are very friendly, and it's really easy to make friends there, and they will help you out. The buyers are very important. So if someone is buying from you, chances are they also have a collection. So if you build a relationship with them, they could sell you cards back, and then you could grow your inventory. That actually gives me another piece that I want to recommend to you guys. So if you're constantly selling items, you're going to run out of inventory. So you're going to want to buy stuff at the same time to maintain your inventory levels. If you run out of inventory, you're going to run out of customers, and you're not going to make back the money that you spent on vending. Honestly, like $100 might not seem like a lot, but when you're only making like 10 cents or 20 cents or like $1 per card, it's hard to come up to that $100 table expense, or even more than that. So you want to be able to sell a lot of product, and at the same time you want to be buying product from people or cards and collections. And if you build a relationship with people, then they're more likely to come sell to you at a good price. They'll sell their collection, and then you'll just, it's a cycle. You keep selling and buying and selling and buying, and eventually you will make money. So that basically wraps up all my recommendations. Honestly, if you're in it to make money, I don't really recommend it unless you're doing it seriously, because there are a lot of expenses with it, and you are better off just selling your cards to another vendor. You don't have to sell it to the first vendor you see. Like, if you shop around, some vendors will offer you a better rate and might even buy your whole collection at a good rate. If you're looking to just offload your cards, it might just be better to sell to someone else and not become a vendor, period, because there's a lot of headaches to it. There's a lot of extra work, and there's a lot of commitment to it. Like, vending is expensive, it's exhausting, but it is a lot of fun. I enjoy it, but it's not for everyone. If you're in it for the money, you might not enjoy it as much. If you're in it for the love of the hobby, then it's a great idea. Overall, those are some of my recommendations. I might have missed some, but if I missed anything, comment down below what I missed or what your recommendations are for other vendors or people that are looking to start vending. As always, please drop a like, subscribe, and share if you guys found these tips useful. Greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for watching.